The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Chevy, the Florida Lottery, Best Parts, Best Prices, Bennett Auto Supply, Contender Boats, Performance Through Innovation, Navionics, We Start Where the Roads End, and Guy Harvey, artist, explorer, marine scientist, conservationist, and diver.
Listen, this Chevy Silverado is not happy. It's not happy because it's not doing anything, because it knows you have a to-do list with unchecked boxes, because it was built to constantly be on the prowl to get more done. Patience is not the Silverado's virtue. Doing is. The dependable, reliable Chevy Silverado.
Continuing the revolution. Faster, drier, even better built. Designed around Yamaha's latest technology outboards. Still built by the same craftsmen and anglers who launched the Bay Boat Revolution. Whether chasing world records, or time on the water with the family, or anything in between, there's a new Pathfinder model for you. Pathfinder, #1 for a reason, still.
Imagine brighter futures, where doors open for Florida students every day. Imagine building a better tomorrow, where playing means we all win. Now celebrating $25 billion to education in 25 years. The Florida Lottery, just imagine.
It's 200 streamlined horsepower of Yamaha forward thinking. The all-new F200 inline 4-stroke. Whether you're an offshore angler, pontoon cruiser, bay boater, or walleye hunter, the responsive and fuel-efficient F200 combines amazing power and versatility in one incredibly compact and lightweight package. The all-new F200. Legendary Yamaha reliability and the freedom of forward thinking.
Make sure to check out our website at the ChevyFloridaInsiderFishingReport.com, where you can get daily reports from our 9 captains. Also, if you'd like to be featured on our show, upload your best photos to our Facebook page. And if you would like to be part of our audience, you can register there as well. Okay, Rick, Captain Jim Ross is here now, and he's ready to share what he knows about Dolphin in the Central East. Hey, Captain Jim.
Hey, how are you doing tonight, Lauren?
Pretty good. What do you got on Dolphin?
Well, you know, the anglers around here find this to be a pretty popular fish, and it's one of the easiest ones that you can target while you're trolling ballyhoo offshore. They're usually aggressive, acrobatic, pretty colorful, and, of course, they make great table fare. The guys around here, when they're targeting the dolphin, they usually like to troll a spread of small or medium-sized ballyhoo. A lot of people like to put a flat or cupped-based trolling lure on top of the ballyhoo as well. Gives them a little bit more action when they're trolling them at like 4 to 6 knots. Now, most of these fish can also be caught when you're pulling naked ballyhoo, and that seems to be more popular down to the south, but it's working its way up here as well. And we rig those, with either a chin weight or just let them skip. If you chin weight them, they run just under the surface. Of course, if you don't weight them, they're going to skip. Most anglers are using 7 or 8 wire when they're trolling for dolphin, just in case a wahoo or a big king mackerel shows up around here, because we do have some pretty good-sized kings this time of the year. But really, suffix mono or fluorocarbon leaders in like 60 to the 100-pound test range seem to give the baits more action. And when you're pulling those mono leaders, it's more forgiving than the wire, and oftentimes it won't kink and break when the dolphin go airborne, and they do that multiple times during the fight normally. Now, this past week was a pretty good week for dolphin in the Central East region, but this week has slowed down somewhat. But we have had dolphin to 35 pounds being landed, but most of our fish are in the 8 to 15-pound range. Now, what did pick up when the dolphin slowed down was the king mackerel bite, Lauren. And this week, even though the water was pretty dirty last week inshore and the mackerel bite was slow, it's cleaned up and the kings are coming back with a vengeance. Anglers are slow trolling the live pogies, mullets, sardines, pilchards, basically anything they can get for these kingfish, and some of them are ranging up into the 35-pound range. Normally we run to the 70 and 90-foot reefs, but if you start fishing where there's clean water, you can find some nice fish. Captain Richard Bradley did exactly that the other day. He was planning on running out to the 80 and 90-foot reef line, but he hit that color change at 45 feet of water and said, you know what, let's throw some baits in here. He immediately got hooked up and stayed hooked up on some 15 to 25-pound class kingfish, and he was right there off the south end of Cocoa Beach. Similar reports are also coming from the 25 to 40-foot depths from the guys that are fishing between Vero and Melbourne out of Sebastian Inlet the last couple of days. Then the other thing that we wanted to talk about this week is something different that we don't normally talk about in this region, and that's for my inshore report, and that's sharks. The sharks right now, the bull sharks are moving into the Indian River between Sebastian and Cocoa, and most of these bull sharks have moved into the lagoon so that they can bear their young. Apparently they come inside to do that. Most of them are hitting live mullet or chunk baits while you're out there on the water, and the guys that are fishing for them are looking for them in the 4 to 8 foot depths on either side of the Intracoastal Waterway or around a lot of the submerged spoil islands through the Grant and O'Galley area. That seems to be an especially good place this particular week. Now, you're going to need to use a little wire or a little cable leader and prevent those break-offs. But most of the fish are ranging from about 5 to 7 pounds, and there are some larger ones in there, so they're really big fish to be caught inside the Intracoastal system. And then I've also got redfish this week. Of course, that's one of our favorites here in the Central East region. And in the morning time, skid or walk plugs still seem to be a very, very good option, especially if there's a chop on the water or you have a little bit of overcast. Now, once that morning bite slows down, the Saltwater Assassin 4-inch shrimp cocktail lure in the clear or the mud bug color patterns has been really good this week. You want to rig these Assassin shrimp on that 1/8 to 1/16 ounce 3/0 weedless weighted worm hook. Or you can use cut baits or filler crabs whenever the bite kind of slows down and they don't want to chase anything. Most of our redfish have been averaging 22 to about 28 inches in the Mosquito Lagoon and about 16 to 25 inches in the Banana and Indian River lagoons. And I've got a picture here with Caleb Belizio. He came out with me. His mom, I tell you what, this kid, his mom is the best mom in the world. She gets up, or grandmom in this case, because his grandmother brought him this time, gets up, drives from Okeechobee up to meet me up here at Mosquito Lagoon, starts at like 4 in the morning to get here, and Caleb goes out there and has a wonderful day. But I tell you what, with a support group like he has around him, that kid is going to be an awesome fisherman.
All right, well, Caleb, man, I want to invite you to come here and be a part of our live audience. So have grandma or mom, hook it on up and bring you down here to Miami to be part of that live audience. Great report from the CCA Central East Region, Jim. I'm going to go ahead and get to the hot spots from Captain Jim's recommendations this week. Inshore, trout between Rockledge and Dragon Point. Use live fingerling mullet under a float near docks and spoil islands in the area. And then offshore, the 70 to 90 foot reef for king mackerel. Slow troll live baits on a wire stinger rig.
Okay, Rick, it's in the Panhandle where we count on Captain Pat Deneen.
Yeah, I
know. All right, Pat, it's certainly dolphin season, but a little early yet for the peak, right?
It is a little bit early, Lauren, but there's some dolphin being caught right now. The water offshore is beautiful. We find dolphin May through October, with June and July probably being the best time based on having good weather, and also there's usually an abundance of a nice, healthy sargassum grass offshore. And generally, if we're looking for dolphins, we expect to find them at least 20, 25 miles offshore. And we look for the color changes. And right now, there's a really good color change that runs pretty much west-northwest towards the east-southeast, out in the vicinity of the nipple. And north of that line, the water is kind of greenish. You go across that line, and the water turns really pretty offshore blue. And you look for that's where the grass is going to be stacked up. That's where the bait's going to be. And any floats them like crates or wood, it tends to get stuck in that margin where the two waters aren't mixing. A trolled ballyhoo or a small soft plastic or a ballyhoo skirt combination is a good way to go. When you find a good concentration of dolphin, let's say around a pallet or around a sargassum raft, pull in your trolled baits and break out your spinning rods with live baits or dead baits, or herring, cigar minnows, or even the ballyhoo, and you can really bail on them pretty well doing that. But be ready for a blue marlin. Oftentimes we'll do that, and if there's a bunch of dolphin around, the blue marlins are often in that area as well, feeding on the dolphin. So be ready for that. Typical fish offshore in a 50 fathoms and deeper is probably like 10 to 20, 25 pounds, but they're certainly caught up to 50-plus pounds in the Gulf. The nearshore edges and grass, the stuff that's 100 foot and less in depth, we typically find a lot of small schoolie dolphins, and hardly ever one that's big enough to gaff. And like I say, right now, the color change is right out there by the nipple, out towards the spur all the way to the southwest towards the Independence Hub, and those deep rigs has been good this past week.
All right, what else is happening in the Panhandle region offshore?
Well, Rick, these guys are running offshore and they're on overnight trips and 12-hour trips, and they're really targeting the deep water groupers, the scamps and the yellow edge groupers, fishing in 300-plus foot of water on bottom structure, like maybe the Gulf pipeline, the deep water wrecks or hard bottom, and they're using a deep drop, multiple hook, circle hook, chicken-style rig, baited up with either cut ladyfish, bonita, or squid. And those scamps and those yellow edge groupers and those deep water groupers are probably some of the best eaten groupers in the Gulf, and that style of fishery is really getting popular. And what's interesting, they're fishing deeper and deeper, but they're still catching red snappers out there. Typically, those are 250 foot or less depths, but they're fishing that deep stuff and catching some big ones. And there's a photo I sent in of Madison Curran of Pensacola.
Wow.
And that's a 20-pound snapper he caught using an L-Y fishing in 350 foot of water, which is pretty deep for that fish.
That is
he caught a fish with Captain Jerry Andrews on the Zulu. So beautiful fish, huh, Rick?
It is awesome fish, Pat. Tell me about what's happening inshore. I'm sure you got some good fish in there too.
Inshore, the redfish bite's been really good on the grass and around the residential docks, especially those docks at the mouths of the bayous, and also in Santa Rosa Sound out towards Navarre and Pensacola. Depending on the depth, a live shrimp under a cork on the shallower docks, or a live shrimp or small bait fish on a slip sinker rig on the deeper docks are the way to go. But the redfish are also out on the grass flats. Look for the mottled bottom where there's grass and sand mix, and either cast spoons, light jig heads with a soft plastic, or a plastic jerk bait rigged up with a worm hook and a keel weight is a good way to go. The average size fish are running 22 to 25 inches. And if you get a bite on the grass flats, immediately drop your power pole and stop the boat and fish that area real thoroughly, because often you'll find 2 or 3 more fish, or if not more, in that same area.
And what else you got for me inshore, Buck?
Speckled trout, Rick. The bite's still going really good. All the guys throughout the region are reporting great catches. They're mostly fishing grass flats in 3 to 5 foot of water off the points in the bays, and also along the roll downs. The best bite seems to be on the live baits, if you can find them, either as live pilchards or live menhaden. Fishing them under a popping cork over the grass. If you can't find the bait, go with a DOA shrimp under the cork. That's a great backup plan. The fish are running, 20-plus inches, a lot of big spawning females. So, think about maybe letting those guys go. I've seen plenty of pictures of 24 to almost 30-inch fish. And Lucky Chucky of Lucky Chucky Charters in Navarre, he sent me a really cool photo of him and his daughter, Noelle. And that's a 28-inch trout that she caught, and they made sure to emphasize, all on her own. So good going there, Noelle. Pretty fish.
Great to see Lucky Chucky and that beautiful girl out fishing. I love the fact that we're sending in kids pictures. Keep doing it, guys. All right, Pat, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Blue Water Outriggers hotspots from the Panhandle region. Captain Pat says inshore redfish schools on the Air Force Beach property between Fort Walton and Navarre. Use live cigar minnows or pearl soft plastics. And then offshore, blue water pelagics, east and south of the nipple. Look for the weed lines and the color change, and troll plastics and ballyhoos.
All right, when we return, we're going to have the Costa Conservation Minute and a chat with Captain Ron Houston, who's batting cleanup for us tonight. Don't miss it.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Rapala. Catch the latest at Rapala.com. Reactor, the best built performance sports watch, period. Startron, cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Strike Zone Fishing. Suffix, the world's most hardcore fishing line. And Yamaha, reliability starts here.
Hey, what's going on here?
You want the long or the short answer?
Long, I guess.
Chevy's having a great deal on the 2013 Silverado, but you better hurry because we don't want to see a grown man cry spectacular.
What's the short answer? Nice.
The Chevy Memorial Day sale. Now get the 2013 Chevy Silverado All-Star Edition with a total value of $67.50. Plus, current Chevy truck owners can trade up for an additional $2,500 trade-in allowance and get America's best pickup coverage, including 2 years of scheduled maintenance.
Imagine brighter futures, where doors open for Florida students every day. Imagine building a better tomorrow, where playing means we all win. Now celebrating $25 billion to education in 25 years. The Florida Lottery, just imagine.
You already know about the La Jolla Resort in Isla Mirada, so let's talk about the La Jolla experience. With an on-site boat ramp, the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic is just minutes away. And when you return from fishing, there's barbecue pits to cook your catch while your family enjoys the pool or one of our new remodeled rooms. This historic resort, the La Jolla, is family-owned and operated and has a friendly staff ready to make your La Jolla experience a really great one.
You know there's more to it than luck. There's fishing the right bait, the water temperature, the wind, the season, and then there's the boat. We'll put it simply, the boat matters. To own a Contender is to own the best sport fishing boat on the market, period. Contender offers the most comprehensive model range with bigger, faster, and more fuel-efficient boats than the competition. There's only one choice for serious anglers. Contender Boats. Performance through innovation.
The Conservation Minute, it's about circle hooks. Now guys, the reason why we continue to repeat this Conservation Minute obviously is because of the importance. Now it originated in bill fishing. We started in the late 90s using circle hooks because they truly are a hook that slides into the corner of the mouth, which we're going to demonstrate. But now what has happened in the inshore arena, we're all using circle hooks in a live bait situation for obvious reasons. It slides into the corner of that snook's mouth. It slides into the corner of the tarpon's mouth. Everybody seems now to, whenever we're in a bait fishing situation, including the bass guys using live shiners, are actually using circle hooks. Now let's talk a little bit about how those circle hooks work. If this is our bass or our snook or even a billfish's mouth and he eats our bait, what ends up happening is as we pull and slide slowly, you can see how the hook itself by nature goes into the corner of the fish's mouth and hooks itself. The same thing applies with a tarpon if you're using it on a pinfish or a mullet. Once again, remember when you're circle hook fishing, if you yank real hard, that's what ends up happening. You miss the bite. You slowly just have to come tight, and as you come tight, you can see how it pops to the corner of the mouth. The reason why we want to use these is because we don't belly hook or gut hook the billfish, the tarpon, or the snook, which makes our job much easier when it comes to releasing our fish. And that's today's Costa Conservation Minute. You're learning today.
Patience is key.
Hey, you know what a stinger rig is? That's when somebody invites you to dinner and then they don't pick up the check. That's a stinger rig.
Like Dave Farrell?
Yeah.
Excellent at that.
Let's go.
All right, in the Southwest, dolphin is not the most common species. Captain Ron Houston, can you elaborate for us?
Well, like you said, Lauren, it's not the most common species. It's not a very common thing to do on an everyday basis. But for the guy who's looking to do this, guys, you want to start out at about 50 miles out, and you're looking for groups of birds and patches of weeds. Now, the weed patches you all are looking for are not the weed patches they find on the East Coast that are long and abundant. We're looking for the smaller weed patches over here on the West Coast, especially where there's an abundance of bait. Now, this bite right now can start now and work all the way through the summer, and we want to be careful and look for the moderate weather. But once you get out there and start locating these fish, baits of choice can be trolling feathers in blue and white, pink and white, or black and red. Now, once you locate these schoolies, Plenty of baits will catch these fish, such as cut baits, live pilchers, or just a simple bucktail jig in pink, white, and yellow. Our dolphin over here aren't as big as the East Coast, but once you find them over here, there's plenty to catch. Typical size can be anywhere from 2 to 8 pounds, with an occasional fish up to 12 pounds. And I can tell you right now, with the weather we're having, they are going out right now, catching plenty of small schoolie dolphin for the taking. Now, while you're out there, try to concentrate. If you get a bunch of schoolie dolphin and get a limit, the blackfin tuna bite's been happening, especially with the good weather we've been having. Key areas right now in the reports I've gotten are anywhere from Indian Key to Gordon's Pass, basically using the same method as the dolphin, except you're starting another 20 miles out and starting at 70 miles. Now, we're using the same type of pattern for these blackfins, looking for birds and the smaller weed patches. Same method as the dolphin, and they're catching plenty of these fish right now. Slow trolling method will work until you locate these fish. Feathers they're using are the same as the dolphins right now, black and red, blue and white, or pink. Also, while you're out there, have some thread fins or some live fin fish. As these guys are catching some of these fish, there have been some scattered sales, so look for that bill tipping up in the bait schools and the weights. Typical size right now for the blackfins are anywhere from 15 to 25 pounds.
All right, let's go inshore, Ronnie.
You know, on the inshore side, we've had plenty of nice weather, light winds. Look for the trouts right now anywhere from Demir Key to Chino Key. Now, we got a full moon this week. You want to look at the early morning incoming, and the tide's going to probably be real low, and you want to concentrate, like I said, from Demir to Chino. Now, on that route, you're going to see a sandbar out on the outer edge. You want to start concentrating on fishing for those fish on the edge of the sandbar. If you don't have any luck, start moving out to 1 to 4 feet of water where you'll see the cleaner water, and you'll start to see the deeper potholes and grass along the outer edge of this bar. Now, one of the key things to do, which makes it a lot easier to find these fish, diving birds and an abundance of small baits in the areas to catch these fish. Once you locate these fish or locate the birds and the bait, noise-making corks or a variety of topwater plugs, 2 to 4 inch lip crankbaits. Specific colors have been white, red and white, or olive in color. Also, Rupert-colored paddle tails and grubs on quarter-ounce jig heads. And I have a picture right now of a little boy by the name of Dean Hagler, who I just took out. This is his biggest trout ever. We caught plenty of trout working that method, and he was happy to catch that bigger trout with a smile on his face.
Man, that's the biggest trout I've ever caught. I mean, holy cow, great job, Ronnie. Good job. What else you got for us inshore?
You know, a little further to the south now, you want to concentrate for the redfish. Pavilion Key to Plover Key. Right now, you want to concentrate strictly on the early morning incoming, fishing the outer Gulf points on the lower stages of the tide with this moon. You want to concentrate on using topwater plugs, gold spoons, or the Bass Assassin 4-inch paddle tails in white, root beer, lime truce, and good penny. Also, live pilchards and pinfish will also work. Typical size of these fish right now are 3 to 6 pounds. And I have another picture of the same little boy, Dean Hagler. This is actually his first redfish he's ever caught. He caught plenty of redfish with me that day. And by the way, those were we caught those fish, the trout and the redfish, exactly according to the hot spots I gave out last week.
Well, Ronnie, you gave me some really good hot spots in the last week, too. Keeping track of what's going on with the tarpon on the West Coast when we've been getting those afternoon sea breezes with those rainstorms has been a challenge. So tell me, what should people do when they're talking about finding fish in that region, whether it's Chokoloskee, whether it's the Southwest Coast over in Fort Myers? What should they do? How do you get your information each week, Ron?
Well, you know, truthfully, I deal with some of the captains further to the north, but I can tell you what, in the last couple of days, I've seen a lot of little skiffs pulling on the outer edges early in the morning. Now, the water's been relatively clean from Lossman's River all the way down to Pavilion Key. Now, what's funny is these tarpon have been out on the outer edges, but as the tide's been getting higher later in the afternoon, I see these guys pulling out there on the outer edges, and believe it or not, while I'm snook fishing and red fishing, there's plenty of tarpon cruising right now right along the coast, but most of the tarpon I'm seeing are in clean sand troughs with clean water. So the pattern might have changed a little bit. On the higher stages of the tide, guys, in the outer Gulf points, look for sand edges and trough. And don't be surprised if you see a bunch of tarpon swimming by your boat.
All right, thanks, Midnight. That's a great report from the Southwest region. I'm going to go ahead and get to the hot spots and see what Captain Ron recommends. He says, inshore, snook, Marco to Fort Myers Beach, fishing late night, incoming until dawn along the dock, seawalls, bridges, and large boats due to the full moon. And then offshore, mutton snappers, Fort Myers Beach to Stump Pass, 35 miles out beyond the fishing. hard bottom and the Rex. So 35 and further is where you're going to look for them, Lauren.
Okay, Rick, when we return, we're going to tell you what our captains will have for you next week. Stick around.
Imagine brighter futures, where doors open for Florida students every day. Imagine building a better tomorrow, where playing means we all win. Now celebrating $25 billion to education in 25 years. The Florida Lottery, just imagine.
The Johnsons, right?
Yeah.
Which house is yours?
The one with the Silverado up front. So, what do you do? Well, nice.
And Bingo was his name.
The Chevy Silverado, the most dependable, longest-lasting, full-size pickups on the road. For work, for life, Chevy Silverado.
Hi. I lost a big fish earlier today. Wasn't using suffix. It was about this big.
Look, slow down there, cowboy, okay? A fish in the lobster van, huh? You want your fish. Sorry, honey, that fish is gone.
Always use the best line, suffix 832.
It's got the punch of a heavyweight and the pounds of a lightweight. Welcome to the main event featuring the new Yamaha 4-stroke F70. Tipping the scales at up to 142 pounds lighter than its 4-stroke competitors. That's a class-leading power-to-weight ratio, a haymaker of a whole shot, surprising mid-range punch, incredible fuel economy, and industry-leading innovation, performance, and reliability. The Yamaha 4-stroke F70. Reliability starts here.
If you like fishing or the history of fishing, then I have a must-see place for you. The IGFA Fishing Hall of Fame and Museum in Dania Beach. What makes the IGFA so cool is that they have theaters where you can learn about the journey of fishing, galleries where the kids can see antique reels or catch a big one. The Hall of Fame room has over 140 beautiful fish mounts, and maybe in the E.K. Harry Library, you may see a live alligator. For more family fun, go to IGFA.org.
Fish Stock, the total saltwater experience, returns to New Smyrna Beach this Memorial Day weekend. Bring the whole gang to Riverside Park for an incredible family experience. Tournaments, boat shows, seminars, kids clinics, and the Fish Stock 5K Fun Run. Visit fishstock.com to register for the Offshore Striker Tournament with an expected payout of nearly $100,000 in cash and prizes. Or the Redfish Trout Challenge with an expected payout of $15,000 in cash, prizes, and much more. Fish Stock, Memorial Day weekend in New Smyrna Beach. Don't miss this one.
Next week on the Chevy Insider Fishing Report, we will be talking bait. Make sure to check us out next Thursday, May 30th. You can catch repeats on Friday and Saturday. Just visit Sun Sports and your local listings for more details.
You know, two things. The Guy Harvey lottery tickets go on sale this week. And also, guys, we have Boat Safety Week this week. So, you know what? We got Memorial Day weekend coming up. Be safe. Wear your kill switches. Make sure you wear your life jackets.
No borracho.
And no drinky. Have a designated driver, you know?
As always.
All right. Thanks for watching.